Hey guys, Bruce the Budget Aquarist here. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Today's video is primarily for people who are newer to the hobby. This may be old hat to you older folks, but this is talking about hang-on back filters and how to keep them for a long time. I have hang-on back filters that I have had for literally years. I use them on every single tank I have. And I find them great for getting large quantities of things out like flake food, just excess food in general. Sure, they have some benefit for providing some beneficial bacteria to break down waste and keep water clear. But generally, I find that they are primarily good at keeping large bulk stuff out of your water. So you want to make sure to keep them clean. So the first thing you want to do is just common sense. You want to make sure that you're in an area where you can take these things apart and not make a mess. Now you're never going to get all this scale and stuff off unless you really go at it with a toothbrush or something. And this I don't care about because there's no real water flow through these where the scale is. I take and change my my filters. I only do this maybe once a month, every maybe 6 weeks, maybe even 8 weeks. Or if I notice there's a problem where the filter isn't working properly. Basically, these things are easy to take apart. Not a lot of moving parts. Everything snaps together. You probably did it when you bought it, unless you bought it used. So all you want to do is get everything apart. And don't be afraid to take it apart because it's going to go back together. It's very simply made. You're not going to hurt anything, most likely. Get all the parts out. This is the water volume control here. You want to get the pieces all like this so that you can go in there with whatever you want, a toothbrush or whatever, and scrub all the parts out. When you're done, you should be able to look through and see that there's no grime in there, and often this can be accomplished by simply rinsing the parts out. It's just that easy. But there's not enough force of the water from the running filter to keep it cleaned out itself. So sometimes it needs a little extra muscle from you, the user. This is your impeller. You want to clean the little plastic blades off real good. Take a look between the little rubber grommet if there, whatever there is. Make sure you don't see any pieces of filter floss or string or hair or anything caught up in there that would keep it from moving. Part of it's magnetic. Just clean it good. Same thing here. This is the main pickup from the filter. So you're going to have plant matter and all kinds of stuff there. Again, just clean it out. Give it the old once over. When you're done, you should be able to look down there. Okay, I see a little bit more. And by the way, I'm not using anything like a pipe cleaner here, which I'll often do. Really helps you clean it out even better. Just give it a good cleaning out, rinse it out. Make sure there's nothing major in there. Careful not to break it. I'm tapping it pretty gently here. And now most of it's cleaned out of there. Enough for my purposes here today. Okay, now I got everything back together. Not many parts there, and most filters do not have many parts. So go ahead and put everything back together. Make sure you clean out the inside of this, the body of it. Again, everything snaps back together pretty easily. And there you go. You got yourself a nice clean filter. Now this particular type is a slightly different design. The impeller is in a housing that snaps on. This is a kind of a common design too. And of course, trying to do this one-handed isn't easy. So, let me pause the camera here. Ah, there we go. And again, you just want to look down in the parts and make sure that there's nothing jammed in there, no leafy matter or anything, algae that's going to cause a problem for the flow of the water. This particular type of, you have another piece that you have to take apart right here to get at the actual impeller. And they separate quite easily like that. And there you go. There's your impeller. And you can see this is pretty clean again because I keep up on my maintenance on this. But sometimes you'll take this off and these things will be, really nasty. And then all of a sudden you have very bad water flow. And if you're a beginner, you're often thinking, geez, my aquarium's dirty, maybe my filter's bad, when there's really nothing wrong with it other than it needs good cleaning. Same situation here. Make sure your parts are all cleaned off. Snap everything back together, and you're good to go. Make sure that you have the cables routed in the right direction. Some of these have special slots, like you see here, where the cable goes in there to keep it properly routed. But you get the idea, and you're good to go. Again, if you want to get rid of the scale on here for appearance sake, just remember to never ever use any harsh chemicals. Clean water, that's about it. Now, I always make my own filter pads because I like to change them quite frequently. And here you go. I just cut them out of batting that you use to make quilts. Clip them back on there. Use a rubber band to help. Put that in there, and there you go. I'm good for another, usually I can get by for a week as long as I'm not overfeeding my fish. And there you go. Got everything plugged back in. I make sure my water flow is good. Sometimes you have to clean off this ramp right here to make sure that there's no algae growing on there. And there you go. So the scale sure is a little bit ugly, but it's not affecting the actual water flow or the performance of the filter at all. Get your lid back on and you are back in business. I will tell you that if you have certain things like lots of little baby bristlenose like I do, and you are feeding them things like zucchini and cucumber, you really want to check these filters quite often. This filter is only about 2 days old, and look at that, it's very plugged up. And it's absolutely no kind of food other than zucchini. The zucchini starts to fall apart in there and picks up and gets in there. So, same thing. I have a homemade filter that I change out. I get everything plugged back in, check my water flow, and then I'm good to go. Now, I will tell you also, be careful because sometimes you will get, if you have albino, if you have bristlenose plecos, they're tiny babies, they will swim up in there and live in your filter. So be careful if you clean your filter out, look for those. And that's about it, folks. As you can see, I have good clean water. I do 25 to 30% water changes once a week, and my water is in great shape, and these filters are all old. I don't replace them. I still have filters, again, that I've had for a long time. So I'd encourage you to consider making this part of your maintenance. Again, even if it's only once a month or once every 6 or 8 weeks, take it apart and save yourself the trouble of warranty. I keep all the boxes that I buy my filters. I keep the receipt inside the box in case I need it, and it's a good way to not have to waste money. Okay, guys, so this is Bruce, the Budget Aquarist. I hope you all are having a good day. I've got a little bit of a sinus thing going on, so I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the weekend. You all take care.